evening. My name is Abdulaziz Akombi, and I'm the lead community manager here at Loubby AI. Welcome to another event with us. And the topic for today is embracing AI as a designer. And our speaker here is Areous Ahmad, who is a UX engineer. He has been embracing AI and he has done a lot. So that's why we're bringing him here. Areous, if you can hear me, please introduce yourself better and you can continue the session from there. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think you've done justice in, shortly introducing me. I'm Areous. I am a UX engineer. What does that mean? It's just a designer that, is doing a little bit of coding checks here and there and lot more vibe coding. So just embracing the AI era full force. That's a bit about me, I guess.
All right. So we can start the session from there like that.
Okay, well, fantastic. So Um, one of the things that I would like to say is that we're in an interesting era where it feels like if you feel like um there's a lot more of AI wave and you don't really know where to start or things to do. And I think everyone here still feels the same. Even with me, it still feel like there's a lot more to explore and this whole career thing is broad, but I think the most important thing is to not be left behind. I think it's very crucial to start exploring a whole lot of AI now. And as a designer or even a non-designer, I think the way to start doing that is by firstly having some three rules that I call to live by. Number one is acting fast. What does that mean? In the few months that just passed, you could act slow. You could decide not to want to do things a lot faster. And at that, the industry was very forgiving of people who do that. But we're in a very unique position where, everything that you need is at the speed of light. And I think everyone would operate in that manner. Similarly to how, the revolution of calculator was. Not like I have a good understanding of how that was, but I could understand how a lot of people did calculations without a lot of scientific calculators then, right? And, it got to an era where calculators came in, it seems like, wait, why are we doing this thing? Everybody is now operating in that speed of light. And before people really, catch up, everyone had to operate in a speed of calculations using calculator. Same context how I see it now, where we're on a level playing field, or at least everyone has access to an AI in one shape or form, right? Yes, of course, the barrier to entry is a little bit high. What do I mean by that? The AI models are a little bit expensive, but I think that being at the forefront of this would also give you an edge above every other person because it's kind of like positioning you in a space where you already have an idea around all of these things and then you're just building on upon it, right? The second rule that I sort of developed for myself and I think everyone can sort of adopt is not necessarily changing your workflow but improving your workflow with AI. How would you do that, you might be asking? So I think that the way it used to be before is that we go we get hit with all these ideas around, hey, design maybe this dashboard or this login or this onboarding, and then we go on to first of all creating some form of research around, okay, how do I best design a dashboard? And once you create that research, you do a wireframing, and once you do that wireframing, you do a low-fi, then you do a hi-fi. I think that the process is now cut short, where if I was asked to design a dashboard now, what I would do first is get ideas from AI. I'll just put it in the chat and say, hey, can you? I'm trying to create this AI. Can you try to um give me ideas around it? Then when I now have that dashboard, I now go and mood board based on the concept that I have. Because the reason why I don't mood board first before doing the dashboard is I don't want my ideas to be diluted. And when you have multiple mood boarding ideas, your ideas get diluted in that design and you're stuck with that design. But if you go with a clean slate, asking an AI to say, hey, I'm trying to build a dashboard, can you come up with an idea for me? It sort of just um gives you a fresh idea, and then you can go and look for mood boards to sort of validate that idea and do that design in respect to how real world designs are doing, and it not feeling like it's all vibe coded. The last sort of rule that I gave myself, which I think everyone could adopt, is share as much as you can, right? Um, you're in a space where you can now build things fast. Not only can you design fast, you could build and showcase what you have done. And I think that if you really want to be employable, you have to have that ability of being able to share, right? Some of the projects that I've worked on have been travel recap. So I traveled a bit last year, did some travel recap, and then posted on my LinkedIn. Engineers in Netflix, saw that and they were like, oh, hey, there's this other project. Do you want to check it out? Do you want to give us guidance? We're trying to do all this design, things like that. Engineers from other other sort of industry are reaching out, sorry, to kind of say, hey, we've seen what you're doing. Can you can you sort of talk us through all of this? So it's definitely giving you that spotlight because everyone also wants to learn at the same time you're learning. And the more you share, the more you learn. So the three rules are: A, you have to build fast. B, you have to, improve your workflow with AI. There's just no question about it. Lastly, you have to share what you've built, right? So if you combine these three things, I believe that you're going to be able to improve in your workflow. Now, how do I go about understanding what's the best thing to do? Because it's very difficult nowadays because everything just seems like it's changing. What models do I know how to use? What do I do? What's the latest thing? I don't want to be left behind. I don't think everyone should necessarily think about what's next, what's next, what's next. Rather, I think everyone should get comfortable with adopting the flow first. Because I think that's the most difficult thing, right? Doing the adoption. And the best way to do it is by testing, testing, testing. Yes, and I understand that, look, these models could be quite expensive. And my own sort of suggestion to making it a lot cheaper for everyone is to maybe try Google AI Studio, right? So the idea is that you're having Google AI Studio do a design for you, but then you're learning how to use the Google AI Studio, or you're learning how to prompt via, let's say, Grok, for example. So you could go and give Grok a screenshot and say, hey, I want to redesign something like this. Or maybe you go to Pinterest, get the dashboard for a fashion business, and you say, hey, or I want to redesign this dashboard into a health business. What would be the best prompt to give an AI studio or something like that? And what Grok or any other AI language or even ChatGPT, and the reason why I said you shouldn't use, or I'm not talking, or I'm not saying you should use Gemini in this context, is because they're trying to save as much AI usage as possible so that the AI can design for you. Even though, yes, the Google AI Studio runs on Gemini Flash, but there's still limits to it. So once you're able to get that description or that prompt from Grok, you can then paste it into Google AI Studio, and it will build it for you. And the rest you need to be doing is just reiterating, getting it perfect, selecting its pain points, and sort of like prompting it to do a lot more work. And like I said, the prompting, you don't have to understand it. You just need someone to break it down for you a lot better. So you describe it to AI and say, hey, even sometimes what I also do is that I would ask it to ask me questions to see if it understands what I'm telling it to do, right? So those are some couple of ways that I've used AI to, sort of improve my workflow. Um, I use an internal tool at Temple, which, it's like our IDE. Um, and with that context, I can't expect every other person to have access to that. But when I'm not using Temple on a weekend, I use Google AI Studio, and it just brainstorms things for me a lot quicker in that context. So yeah, that's one way that I improve my workflow. The second way that I improve my workflow is via quick colors and branding, right? Yes, AI does not know how to mix color together. I think people are still better at doing that right now, but it's very good at this point at it's very good at giving you suggestions of colors that would go together, then you can sort of mix it. So what I like to do is, use either Grok, ChatGPT, or one of these language models, or even Gemini, and say, hey, I'm trying to do this design. Can you give me color suggestions? Once you give me color suggestion, I'll ask you typography suggestions. Then I'll now put that into the Grok and say, hey, I'm trying to build this dashboard, or I'm trying to build this landing page. Can you use this design system and build a landing page with those colors or with those typography? You will see that what it gives me is infinitely better than the purple gradient AI slop that people usually get. Like I said, it comes down to prompting, and that's why I talked about it at first, to say, okay, hey, if you really want to get a good prompt, you don't necessarily need to come up with it yourself. You just need to ask the AI to sort of break it down a lot better, or make your English a lot useful to give you good context. Now, the last section that I sort of use AI to improve my workflow is on mockups. When I mean mockups, I'm not saying what the product look like. I'm talking about the text mockup, and some people, I think they call it content, right? So when you're doing designs, or when you're designing a dashboard or whatever, what would make your dashboard look poor is if you don't have real content in there. People will go there and feel like, you know what, this is not a good dashboard because you don't have content in there. So I just take a screenshot of what my AI just came up with me, and I put it inside either Claude or Gemini or any one of this, and say, hey, please help me with a content, with a mock content on this. And then, you know, it gives me that content, and I just change the content around it. So that's pretty much it. Abdulaziz, are you here? I mean, I think I've been able to cover up a little bit. I'm happy to take
Yes,
questions if there
yes,
are any. And yeah.
yes. Thank you so much. I don't know if you can be able to show us in just like 10 minutes or so, like how this process is, just like a short demo. Then we can move to
Yeah.
questions.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I think we could do that. Just give me a
Oh,
second. So I hope this is a correct one. Can you see my screen, guys? A thumbs up or something like that will suffice. Okay. So first of all, this is Gemini, right? And yes, I do use Pro because you have to get all of this sort of apps, or is it tools? Dismiss. Sorry. Okay, not now. Um, and then also this is Claude, um, which I also use. I mean, this one is given to me by my company. I'm not gonna lie. So, um, And then Claude also introduced Claude Design now, which I've also been actively using. Because you have to move fast. You can't just so there's also Grok, right? Which I also use. And sometimes I also use Meta AI actually. Because the idea is, or sometimes when you're faced with like, a complex bug, the only way to debug that bug is by moving through all of these apps, right? Um, the problem solving around, the only one I don't have anymore is ChatGPT, but I used to have that Pro too, because the the way it approaches problems, sometimes some apps are a little bit different. So when I'm going with light prototyping, I use artifacts on um on Claude. And if I'm going with like a deep prototyping, I use AI Studio. So you go to Google, I'm sorry, AI studio.google.com. And then once you go into here, then you go to the build section on the apps, and then you create a new app, right? So essentially what we're trying to do is create a, let's say, dashboard. So at first I told you to not go and search for inspirations first, but for the sake of this, and I want to make it short, let's search for inspiration. So I'll go to Mobin, which I also use the pro version of it. I know some people might not um, be able to get this at the moment, but what you could do is just use Pinterest. Pinterest is pretty cool with UI designs, actually. So, uh, dashboard, dashboard design. So they're pretty cool UI design dashboards here. But what I try to do first, oh no, sites, is that I'll go to web section and I search for something like a dashboard. So apparently, what we're now going to do is let's go with the dashboard first. Then we'll look for one that is pretty simple. And the reason why we're going with the simpler version on this call is because I want us to be able to do this as quick as possible. This is kind of complex, but let's just go with it. So I'll bring it into like Claude or Grok, for example, and then I'll be like, I want to generate this dashboard. Google AI Studio, can you write a detailed prompt to recreate it? So essentially, wait, can you guys see? Can you guys still see my screen?
No.
No,
Oh, yeah,
we
it's
already
like I'm
seen your picture.
frozen, right?
Yeah, you're posing.
Yeah. Okay, give me 1 second, please. 1 second. I don't know what's going on. I think it's my network. I'm using what is it called? Glow. And Glow are trying to stretch my life. I'm just joking. But yeah, just give me 1 second. Let's. Ooh, I think it should. Maybe I should just join my mobile hotspot so that we can. Okay, I think we're back now. Glow has helped. Glow is back. Okay. It's loading. Sorry. That is a companion mode. Okay. Join here. Okay. Let me go. Yeah, perfect. Let me try it again. This is it, right? Make sense? So write a prompt that I can use to recreate it, and then you go like you give it a go. Then Grok or Claude, like I said, all these language models have their own way of doing their own thing, right? One will be a little bit different from another, but they would all give you like similar results. Like for example, we could also take this to Grok and Do the same thing. Ask it the same prompt. Because the thing is, when you're trying to create it your own self, you most likely give it a very vague prompt, which they don't like. They prefer like a detailed prompt. So Grok is taking a go at it, um, trying to give us that. As you can see, it's sort of telling us, what it's like. Okay, create a HTML file using this. Then the layout, it's breaking down the layouts. It's breaking down what the top bar looks like, the sidebar, the main content, what it looks like. And if you wanted to prompt this, you might not be as detailed as possible, right? Yourself. As you can see, Grok is still doing the same thing as well. Prompting it, giving you all the details that you need for the context of it, right? So what I would then do here is just copy this, go to the AI Studio, which is here, and then paste it here, essentially. Once you paste it here, it also talks about the requirements and what it needs, and then you click on build. Now, the reason why I'm suggesting using AI Studio is because for now it's free, right? It's Flash. So you could use that whole freeness of it to understand how to use AI. Many of the things that you do wrong, you could just learn from here. And then when you now start to pay for tools like Claude, Max, and things like that, you could leverage your knowledge from AI Studio to do that, right? So yeah, let's look at this. You see that the prompts are pretty similar too. Now, one other thing I wanted to do is let's do it in Claude too. Let's say create this using artifact. So it would do this within Claude. So if you're using Claude Pro or Claude Max, whatever, you could use this. Personally, I think this is a lot better than what this would generate because this is Gemini Flash model. Except if you change it to like Gemini Pro model, it's not going to give you like, yeah, it's going to do the design, but it's not going to give you like something that will blow your mind because you're using the Flash model. Um, what is artifact in the context? Okay, so artifact is what Claude uses to create stuff when you wanted to create it on the fly. If not, it will just output it as text because it doesn't know what you're going to do. So there are things on Claude called connectors, artifacts. Can you see it? Artifacts, right? So let me go to artifacts. So connectors, artifacts, and as you can see, you can do a new artifact, which would then ask you, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to build apps and games? Are you trying to build design templates, gaming? So my own logic is just to use the code name to sort of bring it in without necessarily having to go through this whole process because it's just an artifact, essentially. So based on the prompt that I would do, it would use a HTML artifact. Can you see? So it will build this and it would show us. So we're basically racing between this. Yeah. So as you can see, this is what it generated. That's why I'm saying the Flash model, right? Is it looks good. Trust me. This is what we wanted. This is it. The cookbooks and sort of like that. It created something exactly like it, with all of the colors, with the customized, everything is in the same place, but it's not as detailed as I would want it, right? But it looks good starting off. Do we agree, guys? This is what we copied,
Yes.
and this is what we got. Do we agree, everyone? I mean, you can unmute
Yes.
and speak.
It will only
Yeah,
get better.
absolutely.
Yeah, perfect. So essentially what we now want to do here, so let's say, for example, we want to use the original logo of this. So can we go to this website? Let me see. I think it's QuickBooks, right? QuickBooks. QuickBooks.com. So so what we are going to do here is that we would then copy of I want to do something here, but I don't know why it's not allowing me to. Let me see. So I also have things like SVG exporter here, SVG exporter here to kind of like help me export SVG sometimes when I want to use like all of these icons and things like that. Let me see. There's no link to this. Oh my God. Okay, I think this is the, yeah. Oh, it's not giving me what I need. Essentially, what I want to do here is to copy the image URL here. Wait, I could go to the network. Right. Network, sources, images. Wait, why is it not showing the images in here? Okay, let's see. Damn, there's a lot of images here. I don't know if we can see the logo quickly. It's all that logos. Okay, let's see what Claude comes up with for us. As you can see, Claude to me is a little bit more detailed, right? Yeah, let's move it to the side. Oh, there's an issue. Yeah, Claude, what's happening with this? Claude to me is a little bit more detailed. It gave it a lot more time, but you could see the difference between Claude and what AI Studio. AI Studio took icons from Lucid because we told it to take icons from Lucid somewhere down here. Let me show it to you. Can you see we said Lucid for use Lucid for the icon packs and stuff like that. So that's why we're having this kind of icons. In the context of where you're designing, you'll be using like custom icon packs, right? And the way I would suggest to do it is by going into settings and there's GitHub here, right? Then you click sync to GitHub. I don't want to put my GitHub on this. So when you do click sync to GitHub, every icon that you put, you just put it into the assets folder. Because if you look at the code, there's supposed to be a assets folder somewhere here. You see, create a new folder, then we'll call it assets. Wait, can we add stuff to this folder already? Nothing is in assets. Wait, I've never tried this before, but let me try it right now. Let me see. Can I add stuff to it? Oh my God, wait, I can add stuff to it. Oh, this is nice. Let me delete it then. So this, since I can add stuff to it, I didn't actually know you could add stuff to the assets. So let's export the logo. I've downloaded it to my computer. I'm going to rename it to logo.svg. Oh, I learned something in this call. I didn't actually know you could add stuff to the assets. I thought you could only do that on Temple. So you go to, where are we? You go to AI Studio and then bring in the logo.svg in here. So as you can see, the logo is inside assets, right? So what we'll do is we would select this section, and the way to select it is it's called focus mode. Most AI apps have this focus mode style, and then you select a section. I think I explained it earlier, but I'll go through it again. So I'll go through it again. Just give me a second. Once you select this div, for example, we will just say change the image here to the logo inside assets slash logo the svg. For us to confirm, let's check the code. It's inside assets and it's logos.svg, right? Oh, it's not logo, it's logos. So what this would do is that it would just go and then change this logo. If this logo changes and the text changes to white, then we've done a good job so far. It's working, it's doing its own thing. So for short things like changing the logo and stuff like that, I don't like to go back and say, oh, give me a prompt, because those ones are easy to do. You're the one that knows the file path, you're the one that knows the image path. It's kind of like easy for you to do from then on. But Other than that, it's like that. So just to recap, right? The concept you're doing is, you're sort of prompting first, right? Like you could also come to Gemini and say, I want to work on a landing page, right? Can you ask me questions so that you can better generate a prompt I could use on chat AI Studio. I think Claude does this question thing better. It asks you questions and stuff like that. But essentially what this would do is that it would then ask you questions around all of this. What's the landing page? Can you see? Um, I'd love to build a perfect landing page for you from AI Studio. Um, Here are the key points that I need to what product do you offer? So you would just answer these questions, right? Like for example, here you would say, what products and services do you offer? I am a designer. And then who am I trying to say? Clients that needs design. So I want them to see my portfolio. So they're asking the key benefits, my portfolio and it's my work. Then they're now asking us the brand tone, right? We want to be minimalist. Then I just need a text or MD. So MD is mock document. It's just like a text, but it has more details in it. So let's go back to this. This is still working though. What's going on? Okay, assets that as we do. This is taking long. So essentially this artifact in Claude is what Claude used to show you your design. Essentially, is what you use to generate whatsoever you're generating, right? Now, the issue that we're facing here is that I was trying to show you this and at the same time show you an example of how to do it on AI Studio. If you're using paid version of Claude, I would suggest to use Claude, right? Because it's a lot. I've found out that it's a lot more detailed because you're using an Opus 4.5, right? Oh, sorry, 4.7. Yeah, you could use 4.5, whatever other models, but I'm currently using 4.7. However, on here it's Gemini Flash model, so it's not the best model out there. Wait, what's going on? Let me see. It didn't change it. I don't know why it didn't change it. Okay. Let's there was an error initially, right? So let me put it back. Let me now select the focus mode for this section. No, look, the call is actually recorded. That's why I'm flying through it so that I think it's assets, right? Yes. So now it's working. Now it's working. It's selecting the targeted logo and it's trying to replace it with the assets that we added in the code base initially. Because I didn't know you could actually do it in the code base earlier. So you could actually edit the code base here, which is good. But yeah, the artifact is more or less like, via Claude. I think every sort of AI model has their own version of artifact, something like that. But Claude is artifacts, and I personally love to use Claude. It helps me ideate faster. It helps me do it a lot quicker. And then once I have all of this, another thing that I do, so let me download this as HTML, for example. So if I download it as HTML and I'll bring it, let's now say I want to bring this into Figma, I would then, there's a plugin called HTML to design. Oh, it can't take an offline page. Damn. Okay. If it can't take an offline page, that's also cool. What I would just do is I would just do HTML to design on here and then just say copy the browser for me. And that's all. It would just copy it, grant access, allow, and it would just do the thing. And I can download it to my drive. And once I download it, if I go on Figma, and I create a new file, for example, how do I create a new file? New file is somewhere here. Oh, damn it, drafts. Uh-huh. Okay. Can you see though what we've been able to generate with like, just few minutes of prompting, right? Yeah, perfect. So I would then go to HTML to design here and then just bring it in. Bring the one that I saved in. Like I said, you can always refer back to this video call. I think it's recorded. I know it's recorded. Then I'll just proceed and it will bring the entire design. And I can morph it. I could do more on it on here. Can you guys see? That was the design that we just did. And you could edit anything you want on Figma. You could change this to red if you want. It's pretty, I'm not going to say easy, but AI has helped us make things a lot easier than it used to be, right? Um, if we go back now, I still don't know why it's not changing. It's saying that it has changed, but it's not changing here, right? Sorry, guys. I think, something this is something that you would have to debug at, your own free time. But yeah, I hope I've communicated so far.
Yes, yes.
Um,
Yeah, absolutely. You have.
Thank you so much. So we'll just be taking 2 to 3 questions. And if you have any other question, you can just follow up in the DM. All right, these 3 questions. Who's going first? Please unmute your mic and ask your question. Please keep it
Yeah, I
brief.
want to go. I want to go first.
All right, please
please
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Okay, so thank you very much for the walkthrough. Very simple and short.
Thank you.
You mentioned tempo,
Yeah,
and also I've been so used to Lovable, and of course
yeah,
Google Air Studio. I haven't used Tempo
yeah.
before. I don't even know how the interface looks like. And also Claude. I've not used Claude like that as well. So I just want to know if Tempo has free tiers that one can use to start up, just to start to learn it before we can now maybe migrate into the paid tiers.
Yes, Tempo do have a free tier. But the way the free tier works is that let me try and get a project that I'm working on Tempo so that I can show you guys how it looks like. And this Tempo, like this project is like live. So yeah, Tempo does have free tier. And the reason why I'm talking about using Tempo is because I work there. So um I get access to Tempo, but think of Tempo as a Figma to code, but on steroids, right? It has everything you need to code, but also has everything you need to design. What's going on here? So this is, oh, I haven't, oh, damn. There is an issue with this specific report. Give me a sec. This was the design that I wanted to show you guys that I did via Tempo, right? But then it's not loading, like the canvas is not loading. I think I when I put it on GitHub, it just moves it away or something like that. But yeah, you can do the manual edit from Tempo. You can add text and things like that. I think this is correct. So hurrying, right? Yes, perfect. Perfect. This is it. This is it. So can you see? So with Tempo, it has like canvas where you can see things that you're doing, right? And you can go directly into it. As you can see, the website for this is safari.com. Anyone could check it. But within Tempo is like, you know, you could edit stuff. Like for example, travel to the Middle East, you could just double tap and edit and edit like for example. This one that is saying access, you could say access more. Like you don't have to prompt it. You could just do it like a
Yeah.
design. You can move things around, right?
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, what is I don't know. I guess there's something wrong with this repo basically, but you can move things around with Tempo. You see, I moved it into yeah. More like Framer vibe, exactly. But it's a lot more like, and then you can then preview from here to then go to other sections and sort of say, hey, I want to edit a card here. I want to change the background to like red, for example. And you don't have to
Yeah.
prompt it, but you could also do the prompting there.
Okay.
Essentially. Yeah. Yeah. So that's it with Tempo, essentially. That's it with
Wow.
Tempo.
Beautiful.
But yeah,
Thank you.
there's a free tier, and it's just not. I don't know. All those free tiers are not the best, honestly. That's why I don't advocate for them. Any other question, please?
Regarding the recording, I think it will take time before Google will send it to us. So once they send it to us, I think it should be available tomorrow. It should be available tomorrow. I got this. Yeah.
Okay, I don't think there's any other question.
No, you don't need to fill any form. I'm going to send it to the community, and I'm also going to send it as a mail to everyone that registered for the event. I think we've come to the end of the session. Please, can you drop your LinkedIn page so that they can follow you in case they have any other question or so? Thank you
Okay,
so
okay,
much.
sure. Sure.
Let's appreciate our speaker. You can drop the appreciation in the chat. Thank you.
That's my LinkedIn. Let me make it a clickable link so that uh, people can get access to it.